There has been a rumor about a shapeshifter being down here. I wonder if we can spot him. What's this? You're a shapeshifter. Why are you taking the form of me? Now you can witness the pain and suffering of a true shapeshifter come to life. I will take over your life and will do stuff that is so atrocious that it will revel in the name of the shapeshifter. Not if I can do anything about it. See right here? This is a silver knife. And you are about to go for the ride of your life. You haven't seen the last of me, human. Now that we are safe away from the shapeshifter because he's gone. And I don't think he's going to be coming back anytime soon. But this leads us into this week's episode of the Supernatural Files, which we dive into the folklore and the mythology of what a shapeshifter is. And it's been passed down from generation to generation through the Native Americans. And Wendigo and shapeshifters, they are sort of similar and sort of not, because it all ties into the aspect of a person's ability to shapeshift or turn into something else. Stay around for the ride, because it sometimes it gets dark if you're going into the whole shapeshifting lore. In mythology, folklore, and speculative fiction, shapeshifting is the physical ability to transform oneself to another, and inherently superhuman strengths and attributes. Divine intervention and demonic manipulation, sorcery, spells, or having the ability. The idea of shapeshifting is the oldest forms of totemism or totemism and shamanism, as well as the oldest existence. Literature and epic poems, such as the tale of the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Iliad. The concept remains a common literacy device in modern fantasy, children's literature, and popular culture. Let's get into the folklore and mythology, because shapeshifting, we've all thought about doing it one or the other. We always imagined, what if I could change into that person, or what if I could change into that creature to have that super ability like that other thing. And sometimes it's good, but the shapeshifter, being a shapeshifter is probably it's probably one of the loneliest creatures out there, because it really doesn't have an identity other than shapeshifting to itself. Popular shapeshifting creatures in folklore are werewolves and vampires, mostly of European, Canadian, and Native American, or early American origin before the settlers came to America. Huli Jing of East Asia, including the Japanese kitsune and Korean kamio, and the gods, goddesses, and demons of numerous mythologies such as the Norse Loki or the Greek Proteus. Shapeshifting to the form of a wolf is specifically known as lycanthropy, and such creatures who undergo such transformation or changes are called lycanthropes. Therianthropy is more of a general term for human-animal shifts, but it is rarely used in that capacity. It is also common for deities to transform into animals and plants, just like in the old Greek stories, how Zeus would come down to the human world as a hawk, and when he came here, he would transform back into Zeus, and he would seduce women, and he would have all these kinds of kids. And when he was done, he would just transform back into a hawk and go up into Olympus. Other terms for shape-shifting include metamorph, the Navajo skinwalker, mimic, and therianthrope. The prefix where come from the Old English language for man, masculine rather than generic, and is also used to designate shapeshifters. Despite its roots, it is used to indicate female shapeshifters as well. While the popular idea of a shapeshifter is of a human who turns into something else less desirable, there are numerous stories about animals that can transform into themselves as well. Now that we got into the legend and folklore of the shapeshifter, let's get into the legend itself. It says animals associated with witchcraft usually include tricksters such as the coyote. However, it may include other creatures, usually those associated with death or bad omens, such as the crows or hawks. They might also possess living animals or people and walk around in their bodies. Skinwalkers may be male or female. Skinwalker stories told among Navajo children may be complete life and death struggles that end in either Skinwalker or Navajo killing the other. A partial encounter, stories that end in a stalemate. Encounter stories may be composed as Navajo victory stories, with the skinwalkers approached a Hogan and being scared away. Non-Native Americans' interpretations of skinwalker stories typically take the form of partial encounter stories on the road, where the protagonist is temporarily vulnerable, but then escapes from the skinwalker in a way not traditionally seen in the Navajo stories. Sometimes Navajo children take European folk stories and substitute skinwalkers for generic killers like the Hook. Now that we got out of the legend part, let's go into the transformation itself. That old thing that you've seen on the shows where the shapeshifter just sheds skin and puts on a new one. Originally, a shapeshifter or skinwalker is an individual who has obtained supernatural powers through breaking a cultural taboo, including murder, seduction, or the corrupting of a family member. The shapeshifter curse is desired and acquired, that is, shapeshifters do not have bad luck to be bitten and forced into the curse. Rather, they want it and are willing to perform extraordinary rites of evil in order to achieve it. Upon accepting these deep and consuming level of witchcraft itself, shapeshifters are banished forever from a tribe. Shapeshifters are also, unlike the werewolf, have the ability to shapeshift into the animal they want. Although most commonly the animal is a coyote, wolf, cougar, fox, owl, or crow. A reason why pelts of these animals are widely restricted among other tribes. However, as time passed by, shapeshifters honed their magical abilities, which allows them to have a variety of choices of what they want to shapeshift into. Instead of wearing these pelts or animal skins of what animals they want to transform into, the modern shapeshifter now are able to transform into whatever animal or person they desire to. In many cases, imposed forms are punitive in nature. This may just be a punishment, the nature of the transformation matching the crime for which it occurs. In other cases, the form is unjustly imposed by an angry and powerful person. In fairy tales, such transformations are usually temporary, but they commonly appear as a resolution of myths, as in the many of the metamorphoses or produce origin myths. And we saw this with the 90s show called Animorphs, where this alien creature came and he brought this cube like artifact that the kids touched, and for a limited time they could transform themselves into any creature they wanted, but they had to be careful because if it exceeded like certain hours they would be locked into that transformation animal forever. Let's get into the powers and abilities, because that's what we all want, is like the powers and abilities of a skinwalker itself. The Native Americans or gypsies over the years have created their own type of magic. They bore the names as skinwalkers or shapeshifters. They were known to wear the pelts of animals that they are shapeshifting into, but as time passed, they mastered their magical disguise. On not needing the pelts, shapeshifters are known to be as gods of trickery such as Loki, but they're not actually gods. Shapeshifting is one of the powers, and you can take on a living or dead person's physical appearance by shedding their skin. When they shift, they literally become the person they're mimicking, gaining everything including fingerprints and DNA. They can also mimic wounds, scars, and even serious ones. Super strength, something that everyone wished they had, even though they appear to be human. Shapeshifters do possess amazing physical strength. They can easily overcome human beings. Super speed, something we also wanted. Like as a kid or now, just being a human, we always wanted the need for super speed. Shapeshifters seem to be able to run faster than humans. On several occasions, shapeshifters have managed to easily escape from pursuers. Then you have the super agility. They possess quicker reflexes than typical humans, and voice mimicry. Shapeshifters are able to mimic another's voice without taking on their form. That's how they like to trick other people into coming to them. They like to use that voice mimicry so that you hear a voice that is so familiar to you. Regeneration, something if we had, we could probably live forever and ever. As they change their form easily, shapeshifters can heal their non-fatal injuries and even replace the body parts such as the ears or big piece of skin. Now that we've gone into the strengths, let's get into the weaknesses and how to find a skinwalker or shapeshifter. Lack of self. The more primitive the brain, insects especially, the shapeshifter changes into, the harder it is to maintain a sense of self and remember how to shift back. Like certain supernatural phenomenons, certain animals such as dogs can sense shapeshifters regardless of the form they take. That's why having a dog is just like so necessary in today. If you are dealing with any kind of supernatural, the dogs have a keen sense of what should be in this world and what shouldn't. The true name. If you know a shapeshifter's true name, you are never deceived by any of his forms, but still potentially by other shapeshifters, of course. Gold, something we all want to have. It is most malleable metal, and yet it does not tarnish or change. A shapeshifter wearing or touching gold cannot use his powers. A wound made by a guilt weapon heals at a normal, painful human rate. And shadow. A shapeshifter always casts a shadow of the original shapeshifter itself, not the actual shapeshifting that it changes into. So even if you see one and you look at the shadow and it's not right, then it's probably a shapeshifter. So there's probably been stories that the Navajo and all the Indian tribes that have passed down from generation to generation, that if you go to reservations, you can hear the stories of the shapeshifters and how they tell you not to engage in a shapeshifter, because most times if you engage in a shapeshifter, you're going to end up dead. And there goes your life like that. Thank you all for joining me. Be sure to, if you like this video, hit the red subscribe button down below, hit a thumbs up, click the notification bell to always on, and I'll see you guys next week in the next one. In the next episode of the Supernatural Files. Like always, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.